Hey everybody, it's Jimmy and Bill. So today's video is about something that me and Bill were talking about, how everybody seems to be losing hope when it comes to a lot of stuff, you know, because of inflation, politics, you know, the cost of everything, you know, housing affordability. Like, people are losing hope, and we've been talking to a lot of people that are like, yeah, I'll never own a house, you know, and it's kind of sucky that that's happening, you know.
Yeah.
But there's things people could do to, like, save, you know, on buying a house.
Absolutely.
You know, there's ways, there's programs out there that you could maybe apply for to buy a house. And, you know, you have to buy a house that it's more realistic when it comes to what you could afford, and you could always upgrade. So let's talk about a little bit about, you know, I know certain people want this in a house, 3 or 4 bedrooms, and they want this many baths, but sometimes you have to sacrifice a little bit.
Right. Exactly. You know, we all have our, you know, you've heard me talk about it several times. You know, your wants and your needs. And then
Right.
we've talked about affordability, and maybe you have to scale down a little bit on the square footage, scale down a little bit on maybe the convenience to work. You know, it's not as close to a thoroughfare because that drives the prices up.
Right.
So you may have to drive an extra 5 or 10 minutes, but that 5 or 10 minutes, that could save you thousands of dollars.
Right, because listen, we all know rates are, you know, high. And I know people say on the internet, oh, the rates used to be 17, 18% and all that, but at the same time, when they say that, the houses were $100,000 and not $500,000.
Right.
So,
And that was a really nice house at $100,000. We're talking like the 80s.
Yeah,
That
we're
was
talking
a
about
different world.
yeah, it's a different world, and we're going to do a video soon about what the housing market was like then and how it is now when it comes to technology and stuff. That's a different subject. But now, if you want to buy an affordable house, you might have to drive 30.
a little further.
Yeah, drive a little further.
Yeah, just drive a little bit further. Those are the things, you know, I was talking with some friends, and they're looking at buying another property, and they were out in our neck of the woods, out in Wesley Chapel, and they love the area, they love the house, the schools are great for their family, everything was good, but their draw is being closer to the water, because they're kind of, you know, they're water people, they like the beach, and they like this, that, and the other, right? And I understand, you know, I do too, I grew up on the coast. But sometimes, depending on what you're getting, for what you're getting, that's, you know, you have to make that sacrifice.
Right.
You know?
I mean,
it's a trade-off.
I know, you know, it's easy to lose hope that you'll never own a house. I do understand that, you know, and I know it's easy for me to say, okay, because I own a house, but I bought it a long time ago. But when I first started out, when I first bought a house, it was a small little house. It wasn't nothing. And then I fixed it up, and then I stepped up to a bigger house and a bigger house and a bigger house.
Yep, absolutely. You don't have to go, you know, I see a lot of people, they try to shoot too far ahead. You know, first time buyer, doesn't matter. That's not even in the equation.
Okay.
But they're always trying to shoot too far ahead.
Right.
You know, and they go for that, well, I only want to buy one house. Like, I don't want to buy 2 because that's a waste of money. So I only want to buy one house. But like you said, that stepping stone is how you get to that bigger property for probably most people. I'm comfortable saying for most people in that situation.
Well, what do you think about going from, like, okay, buying a condo, then buying a townhouse, then buying a house, and going things like that?
Today, condos probably aren't, like, before a condo, the affordability was a lot more. We had a lot more affordability when it came to condos. Townhouse, the same thing. You've got some shared costs, so it reduces your, you know, your expenditures a little bit. So the affordability was there, and then having your own home, that was usually the more expensive of the 3 options there. And why not? Just give it a shot. But, you know, you have to decide. Again, you know, you've got to weigh in condo fees, HOA fees, that kind of thing. All those things kind of come into that play when you're talking your monthly output.
Right. But what is so what kind of advice would you give somebody that seems like they're just losing hope and they just don't feel like they could own a house because they're living paycheck to paycheck? So what would you say to somebody like that?
Well, never give up hope, because just don't ever give up on that dream, because you'll get there eventually. You know, you may have to sacrifice. You know, everybody's situation is completely different, but you know, you may have to sacrifice a little bit. Those things that you don't realize, those little expenditures here and there that you know you're buying, they add up over time. And while you go, oh well, you know, $150, $200, things like that, that doesn't matter. But when you add that up over a year, then you go, oh well, that's $4,000. Well, that's not much. I'm never going to buy a house. So
take that savings and put it away. You know, if you're going for a car, you know, don't go for a car with $1,000 payment. You know, just get a car that's realistic, because
don't worry about what other people think about what you drive per se. Don't worry about what other people think because you don't maybe, you know, go to a fancy coffee shop. You know, if your dream is to buy a house, or this goes for anything in my opinion, whether it's buying a house or whatever your dream is, go for it. And then don't worry about what other people think, and you focus on doing what you need to do to achieve your dream and your goal, and you'll get there eventually. And have patience. And then just I'm telling you, every little penny counts.
Right. I mean, plan for it. Say, okay, out of my paycheck, you know, I'm going to put away $100 a week or whatever you could afford. And believe it or not, it's going to add up. And then you go to programs, and if you find the right house, you go to what, FHA, VA, you know? Yeah.
So let's say you do an FHA. So you're only going to have to look at pretty much 3.5% down. So that gets you into the door. That gets you in that property at 3.5% down. Now, you go to refinance the house. You know, you have to wait enough time to where you can refi the property. But let's say 5-6 years goes down the road, refinance the property into a conventional loan. Then you're not paying MIP insurance.
Right.
And then hopefully you've got at least 20% of equity on your loan value, so you're not paying PMI. The difference though is that now you're in a conventional loan, so once you get to that 80-20 divide, 20%, you know, having 20% of the home value equity wise, your insurance premium will fall off.
Right.
So big savings every month.
Yeah. And then also take it easy on the credit cards. I know it's easy to charge something, and there's a trend that I read that, you know, people what are doing is they put so much cash in their pocket, and then they spend the cash, and they're noticing they're spending a lot less money because now they're actually handing over cash instead of plastic and charging it.
Yeah, it's kind of like, you know, if you're worried about your expenses, you write down every one of your every little thing you spend, and then you'll start to see where you can save some money.
It's easy to charge things up on a credit card saying, okay, I'll pay it later. But if you're paying everything in cash, there's a good chance you're not going to buy something that you would have bought it if you were using a credit card.
Because you either have the cash or you don't. And if you don't have it, then you're not walking out of the store with it. Or at least you shouldn't be.
So basically we just spoke about two things: credit cards and car payments. It's nice to drive that fancy little sports car or whatever you're into, the truck, you know, but at the same time, if you want to buy a house, maybe drive something cheaper.
Yeah, a less expensive vehicle is okay, you know, or, you know, you kind of got to weigh things out. Oh, well, you got some big issues coming up maintenance wise on your vehicle as an example. Well, if it's almost paid off, you know, if it's a paid off vehicle, bigger expenses for maintenance is, you know, not a big deal because you don't have a car payment every month.
Yeah. What else? What do you think, Bill?
So another thing you could explore is, we talked about an FHA, so your lower down payment. We also have other programs here specifically in the state of Florida, such as the
Live local?
Live local, thank you. They changed it. It used to be Hometown Heroes, and now it's Live Local. So,
but your state might have a program like that.
Yeah.
So talk to your real estate professional that knows what's going on with the market.
Right, and those programs, you know, they can, what they are doing is they're offsetting some of your down payment expenses and down payment money so that you can get into that property.
Right. No, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Here's one, and you chime in too, but I think if you want to buy a house, you got to do everything you can to protect your credit. Like,
that's a great one.
Don't co-sign for people that, you know, because your debt to income ratio, even though you just co-sign, you're not making the payments. Make sure you make your payments on time, because if you want to buy a house, the sure way is not to buy a house is destroying your credit.
Yeah, you've got to stay on top of your credit score. That makes a big difference. You know, if you've got a lower, like a 650 credit score, that adds a lot of extra points on your interest rate to where, you know, you're spending a couple $100s more a month potentially on your mortgage payment. And it also could affect your ability to get into certain programs or get certain loans.
Right. So, you know, these are some things you could do to buy a house. It may not be today, it may not be tomorrow, it might be 6 months from now, it might be a year from now. But I know things don't look all that great and rosy because the interest rates are X, Y, and the insurance things that are going on with homeowners insurance. But everything is in cycles. So right now, you know, you can't buy a house. Okay, it is what it is. You can't buy a house. But maybe 6 months from now, rates will go down. Who knows? Or you might find the perfect opportunity or the perfect program and come out with the state.
Right. Yeah, there's going to be opportunity. At the end of the day, there's going to be an opportunity, whether it's now or in the future. Interest rates will eventually come down.
Right.
Okay? Things will offset.
But plan now so you're ready for when it happens.
Yep.
Because if you're not planning now, what's going to happen is things will switch and rates could drop and the insurance crisis could be fixed somehow. But then you're not going to be like, okay, destroy my credit and I don't have any money saved. Right. Then you're not ready for the opportunity.
Right. The last thing you want to do is plan when you need to jump on an opportunity. Plan now, then revisit the plan and continually over and over again. I work with customers constantly. They're not ready to buy right now. They're 6 months, a year. Some of them are even 2 years out. But we've made a plan. We keep evaluating. You know, they're conversations. Those are the best conversations I have all day. I would love to have more of those conversations. You know, I like those. You know, it's helping people come up with a plan to buy now or in the future, and that's what it boils down to.
You know, I met a realtor, not for nothing, but they found a house that they rented out to the people, but it was rent to own. So as soon as they saved up enough money to put the down payment and convert it, they were able to buy it.
There you go. There's always an opportunity.
And they wouldn't have known nothing about this unless their realtor came up with it, saying, hey, you know what? We'll do a rent to own, rent it, save your money, and now they're living in the house. Now they have a goal. And, you know, so it really worked out for them.
Yeah, and they do have those programs, but you've got to get connected with somebody to you know, make all those connections.
Yeah. Anyways, that's today's video. I know it's a little bit of a downer, but you know what? We got to talk about everything. So if you like this kind of content, do me a favor, subscribe, ring the bell so you're notified next time we upload a video, and I greatly appreciate it. Talk to you soon. Thank you.
See you on the next one.
Bye-bye.